Let me tell you guys, there are so many things I wish I knew as a beginner cyclist that would have probably made my life a whole lot easier. In today's video, we're going to go over 5 of those things that I really wish I knew that I think were going to make a huge difference in your riding. So if you are a beginner cyclist, this video is for you. My name is Ely, I'm a strength coach for cyclists. Let's dive in. All right, tip number 1 is going to be how not to fall off your bike when you've just gone to clipless pedals. So this is like a rite of passage for all new cyclists when you're literally coming to a stop and you can't really clip out and then you topple over. It's happened to me quite a few times, unfortunately. Happens to almost every new cyclist, but I'm going to teach you how to unclip the right way so that you don't fall off. Essentially, when you're coming to a stop, what you want to do is put your non-dominant foot down. So in my case, it's my left leg, putting it down. While my right leg is up on top, I'm going to unclip by shifting my heel out and pointing my toes inwards. From there, I'm going to almost stand up on that bottom foot, lifting my hips off the saddle and taking my foot down. So now I'm almost in a standing position with the only thing that I'm actually putting pressure on is my left foot. And then as I slowly come and brake, then I put my foot down, and that way I'm basically in a standing position with one knee slightly bent rather than in an unstable position. And obviously there are other ways to do this. If you get a little bit more advanced, you could chill with one knee up, or you could do what you have to do. But in the beginning, this is my most common used way to stop and get off the bike. Tip number 2 is going to have to do with literally planning out your rides according to the wind direction. So if you don't know, wind is one of those things that is going to be the biggest factor in determining how fast you're going on the bike, but also how hard you have to work and kind of your enjoyment as well. A really strong headwind is going to mean that you have to push a lot harder to go at a reasonable speed. So what I like to do is using a wind app such as Windy or even the weather app and looking at the wind direction, wind speed, and wind gusts. Look at where it's coming from and plan out my routes so that I'm working against the wind in the first half and with the wind in the second half. Literally working in a headwind on the way out and a tailwind on the way back home. The reason for this is because you're fresher in the first half of your ride or towards the beginning. So you have a little bit more energy to push against the wind. But towards that second half, when you're fatigued, you're tired, you're exhausted, the last thing you want to do is work harder to be moving at a reasonable speed. So when you get a little bit of a push from the back, when you are tired, it actually makes you go faster for less energy, and that's probably the best thing about finishing up a ride is when you can get home faster than it took you to get out. Number 3 is going to have to do with your riding posture on the bike. What do I mean by that? Well, whether you are on the bars, which is that flat section, the hoods, which is where you change your gears and brake, or the drops, which is where you get aero, what you want to make sure you are doing is relaxing the shoulders, have a slight bend in the elbows, and engaging the core. It's all too common for us as cyclists to keep a fully locked out elbow, tension in the shoulders, and a loose core. But this is not serving you in any way whatsoever. In fact, it's taking away from the power that you're producing on the bike, causing unnecessary tension, and probably going to give you neck pain, lower back pain, and a lot of other pain a lot quicker. So by doing this, you save energy because you're no longer wasting tension, holding it places that's not actually serving you. And you get to go faster because your core is engaged, which means you are using the power that you create more efficiently. So just think of it as a reminder to yourself every time you notice your shoulders are tense, relax. Every time you notice your elbows are fully locked out, bend them. Granted, you may need a bike fit. So if you haven't done a bike fit before, I would recommend going and getting one so you are properly fitted to your bike, and this becomes a lot easier to do. Bike fit solves a lot of problems. If you're not properly fitted to the bike, the neck, the back, the elbows, the hands, numb hands, so many problems can come up. Tip number 4 is going to have to do with making a sharp turn. So if you ever have to either make a U-turn, or if you're descending down a mountain and there's these switchbacks that you have to go through, or even just a really quick turn at a light, if you don't want to fall and don't want to injure yourself, you should probably put the opposite foot down to counteract the balance and give you a better center of gravity. So for example, if you are planning on making a really sharp right turn, put your left foot down so that it's literally counteracting the balance and giving you a little bit more balance on that turn. Instead of putting your right foot down, and then if you make a sharp turn, you might actually just fall over. And the faster you go, the more important it is to do that. And finally, tip number 5 is going to be in a group ride setting. If you are new to group riding, it's probably common that you're scared if you get too close and the other rider brakes like very aggressively, you're gonna hit their tire, you're all gonna go flying, it's gonna be a disaster, you're gonna get an injury. But with you keeping too much distance, you're doing yourself a disservice. And the reason for this is because the closer you get to the rider in front of you, the more energy you're saving and the more you can take advantage of what we call the drafting effect. The drafting effect is literally when the rider in front of you takes the majority of the headwind, so you can move within that draft. Kind of like if you were riding behind a big truck and they're taking the majority of the wind and you're pedaling at less energy to maintain that same speed. That's the idea. But if you are putting too much distance between you and the rider in front of you, then you are going to be taking a majority of wind, you're not conserving your energy as well as you could be, and you're going to be more tired quicker. The whole idea of group rides is that you can go further, longer, and faster for less energy than you would by yourself. It's literally Ecclesiastes summed up, 2 are better than 1 because they have better reward for their toil. A group works together so that you can do that, but you have to get past your fear of getting too close and hitting them. And obviously this takes a little bit of trust in yourself, trust in your skills and your reflexes, and also trust with the group. But once you get past that, and once you develop that trust and that skill of being able to ride in a group, you're gonna be able to go a lot faster and further for less energy than you would by yourself. And that's a huge blessing. And that's a bonus tip. Tip number 6. I would, if I were you, and you're a beginner cyclist, what I would do is find a cyclist who's better than you, whether it be an older rider or someone just more experienced who's been riding for a few years, and ask them to ride with you. And they can teach you some skills. They can teach you how to shift gears, when you need to shift gears, riding up and down and cornering and getting in aero positions. And even the lingo of riding with a group when you're slowing down, or if there's a train track up ahead or something like that, they teach you what their lingo is and how to communicate with the riders behind you. Probably one of the most important things you can do is gain these skills as quick as you can so you can ride in groups faster and you can enjoy your time on the bike. So there you have it, my 5 + 1 extra bonus tip that's going to help you improve as a beginner cyclist. If you like this video, go ahead and go through my beginner cyclist playlist for more videos on how you can train and how you can set up your head unit and a lot more other things that are going to benefit you as a rider, both on and off the bike. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time.